All right, what's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about my top three recovery tools, um, is what I guess we'll call them. Um, People typically think of like foam rollers, massage guns, e-stim units, and things like that. And while these are great modalities, I think these three tools in and of themselves provide us with many benefits. They're easy to store, or a couple of them are easy to store. One of them is obviously not, as we'll get to it. Um, but they do a lot of different things for us and provide us more value than I think a lot of people tend to realize. And a lot of these things aren't really talked about or heavily emphasized, at least from what I see. So we're going to dive right into this. So the first tool that I want to talk about is the body tempering tool. So body tempering is a soft tissue type therapy. So basically, you're going to take a heavy steel-like cylinder. This was made popularized by Donnie Thompson. Rogue sells these actual steel cylinders that you can utilize, and they're crafted for this specific purpose. You could obviously just get steel cylinders from a local metal shop if you have one in your town or anything like that. You could also makeshift one at your house, like I have, and I'll be making a video about that upcoming in the future. There's different ways you can do it. This is just the way that I went about it. I just used a PVC pipe and filled it with some cement, put a steel rod through it so you can kind of put some weights on it to scale the weight or tension as you see fit. But basically, all the body tempering tool is going to do is just going to think of foam rolling, but you flip it and put it on steroids essentially. So when you use a foam roller, this is similar to the barbell mashing video that I made, you are limited in how much pressure you can put into that foam roller because your body has governors per se that are going to limit how much pressure you can put into that foam roller. Whereas when you take a loaded barbell and you're relaxing on the ground, you're able to use a lot more weight to break up tight areas, adhesions, and things of that nature to get your muscles feeling a little bit looser, a little bit more pliable, help increase ROM, reduce stiffness, tightness, things of that nature. And so this is a really good recovery tool, especially if you are a strength sport athlete, you're a competitive athlete, especially if you have physical contact in your sport or anything of that nature, or you're lifting really heavy weights. Tight muscles, muscle adhesions, and things of that nature are very common in those things, in those sports. And so this is a really great tool to keep us in the game, to keep us in practice, to keep us lifting heavy, doing the thing that we want to do the most. The next tool that we're going to talk about is floss bands. And so this is just a really long elastic band. I'm not going to unroll the whole thing, but essentially think of it like an ace wrap, but it's elastic, so it can stretch and you can scale how tight you would essentially wrap this around your body. And so what this does is you would take the floss band and per se wrap it around your knee or wrap it around your elbow, or say your hamstring's been bugging you, feels a little bit tight. You can wrap this around those areas and then you can move it through a obviously constricted, but try to get it through a full range of motion. Like I said, you can do your knee as well. And all we're trying to do there is the elastic band is going to compress that area, so it's going to push a lot more blood flow to that joint or that tight area. And then with you getting some more active movement in it, you're contracting the muscles either around that joint or you're getting the muscle that is tight active. So again, you're just getting a lot of blood flow to that area, helping to increase your short-term range of motion. This is not a long-term fix, but this is definitely a great tool to utilize if you're struggling with stiff joints, tight muscles, achy muscles, things of that nature right before your workout. This is great. Or practice. This is great to just wrap on, do a quick movements of a couple type to get, like I said, some blood flow to that area. This is just going to help relieve those tight muscles and reduce some joint stiffness. So the third tool that we're going to talk about is a lacrosse ball. Now, you could definitely use a baseball. It's just not as smooth, obviously, with the stitching. You could use a softball. Softball is just going to be a lot larger. But I like the lacrosse ball because it's sturdy. You can't really squeeze this thing. It's not like a squeaker ball like his or anything like that. It's got density to it, right? And so similar concept to the foam rolling. We're only going to be able to put so much pressure into our body into the lacrosse ball. But the lacrosse ball is going to serve a similar purpose of reducing tight muscles in certain areas that just feel knotted up. And why I like the lacrosse ball so much is because A, roll out the bottom of our feet, which is extremely important because a lot of us have extremely tight feet. A lot of us have very weak muscles in our feet. And so helping this lacrosse ball will help relieve some of that tension and break up some of the adhesions down there as well, to release some of that pressure on our foot, because if you don't understand it, all of our power, everything comes from the ground up. So if we have weak feet, if we have troubles rooting into the ground, if we're holding a lot of stress, we need to be using a lacrosse ball to roll out our feet to really help, get more out of our performance in that aspect. But there's another, like I said, the other aspect of the lacrosse ball is if you have a certain area in your back, a certain area in your muscle that just feels a little bit tight and you can't really get it with the foam roller, the lacrosse ball is great because it's so small and you can really just dig into a specific area. Areas that come to my mind are certain spots on my back, whether that be upper back or low back, especially the hamstring and the quad or like legs when they're feeling sore. The lacrosse ball is a tremendous tool to throw in to relieve those tight areas and relieve some of that pressure. Again, so you can just get back to doing the thing that you want to do the most. So these are my top 3 recovery tools. I can make videos that further dive into what these tools truly offer us, but there's plenty of videos out there from coaches a lot smarter than me. And especially if you're looking to learn more about body tempering, look up Donnie Thompson on YouTube. He's got a ton of information out there. That's where I learned all of my stuff. And there's a lot more clinics and coaches out there that are starting to put more and more information about body tempering out there. And those people are a lot more knowledgeable and can describe things a lot better than I probably could at this given time. But I know that it's a great tool because my wife and I have been using this for over a year now. It works tremendously. She really enjoys it. She feels like when she gets really stressed out. She holds a lot of stress in her back, and so we take this body tempering tool. We usually roll out her back a bit, and you get some poppage in there, and it relieves a lot of stress and tension for her. So this can also be a really relaxing thing to do as well. That's going to provide us with many benefits. It can be done pre or post workout. It can be done on an off day or just whenever you see fit. Much like any of these tools, you can be pre or post workout or just on an off day, again, as you see fit or as you need these things. So use these to your advantage. Apply it to your recovery days. Like I said, your pre-training routine. Get the most out of your tools so you can get the most out of your training.